You're watching SydTV.
Good morning. Just kidding. It is 1 p.m. as I am recording this, but it's morning somewhere in the world. So it's been a long time since I've filmed a video and uploaded it to YouTube. I'm gonna be honest, I have tried filming YouTube videos over the past like couple of months, but it's like every time that I film, or even when I just like look back at what I've like created, I just like I get in my head and then I'm like, this isn't interesting enough, like whatever. So I'm gonna challenge myself to not worry about that right now, and I'm just gonna film a little makeup video, and you're just gonna talk, and we're just gonna take it back to old school YouTube. And I've been wanting to make one of these videos for a while where I just sit down and talk. And yeah, I have on this dress because I did not feel like wearing pants today. That's the only reason. I'm not going anywhere. I usually don't go anywhere. And I wanted to use this as an opportunity to practice doing my makeup a little bit. So I'm gonna try to go for a very simple beat today, nothing crazy. And look at my nails. I've had these press-ons for a minute, but they are Avatar themed. Shout out to Deja Nail Edits. So I had this video idea to kind of talk about talk about life and art and what my passions are at the moment, and just where I'm kind of at mentally as a 25-year-old person. My birthday was last month and I had a great birthday. I spent it by myself. I booked a very nice hotel for myself during my birthday weekend, and I did a lot of things. I did have a little bit of anxiety around entering my mid-20s, because, after 25 comes 26 and then 27, and then before you know it, I'm 30. And the concept of being 30 just doesn't really it doesn't feel real. Like, I know I'm still a few years away from being 30, but it's like, even just saying it out loud, it just doesn't feel right, Doesn't feel right. Saying that I'm 25 doesn't even really feel right either. Like, I know people say, like, oh, the pandemic has made everyone lose like 2 to 3 years off of their life. So, and I feel like people look at me and they assume that I'm younger than I actually am anyway. So I really could just go around and lie and say that I'm still 21. And I feel like I have a lot of anxiety around just like getting older, which I know is normal, right? But it's like every day it hits me that I'm like an adult. Like, I feel like when you turn 18, and then like that time between being 18 to like, I don't want to say like, I don't know, 22, like that college age, it's like you're not fully an adult yet. Like, you're experiencing adult things, but like you might still be, relying on your family, or you're just not really at the maturity level yet to like fully understand life and understand that there are consequences to your actions, and that, the things that you do now will affect you later on. The moment that you hit like the mid 20s, it genuinely feels like all of the shit that you did when you were younger is all of a sudden starting to catch up with you. And now it's like, for better or for worse. And I feel like life starts to get really serious around this time. At 25, that's when like your frontal lobe starts to develop. Personally, I feel like my frontal lobe started to develop when I was around like 23, 24, but at the same time, I definitely did not feel as grown as I probably was. Like, I don't know, man. Like, realistically, like, mentally, I still feel like I'm 18. Like, and not even in the sense of, like, I still feel, like, immature, but the concept of being completely responsible for myself, like, that's scary. And maybe it doesn't help that, like, you know, I still live with family, and I honestly don't know if I will be able to live on my own or even move out within the foreseeable future, but like most days it's not really given mature, fully functioning adult. I'm still living in the same bedroom that I've been living in my whole life. Like like it's a weird thing to experience. It would be different if I had like lived far away from home when I was in college, because I went to college in Memphis, Tennessee, which is like 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours away from where I'm at now, which is Nashville. And even then, it still didn't really feel like I moved out, because I only lasted like 2 semesters living on campus, and then I was like, I gotta get I gotta get the fuck. Like I need to go back home because this is ghetto, and I was struggling. And like obviously, you know, adulthood, it does force you to step outside of your comfort zone and forces you to learn more about yourself and who you want to be in the world and all that. And there are a lot of aspects of adulthood that I do enjoy. And I will say that, like, I would not go back to my childhood or even my adolescence. Like, I am a lot more at peace and I'm a lot happier now than I was when I was 18, you know? Even 21. Ooh, girl. You know, bro, them early 20s, the early 20s were rough. So I'm happy to have made it on the other side of things. But life, you know, it gets scary sometimes. And I think I'm just like, I'm still making peace with the fact that I'm no longer a kid anymore. And I haven't been a kid for a very long time. The beauty of getting older is that, like I mentioned, you know, discovering yourself and learning who you are as an individual. Which leads me to wanting to talk about my passions. Now, if you are new to me and you've never watched any of my videos before, mind you, I've been making YouTube videos for a long time. This specific channel I started a couple of years ago, because I started crocheting a couple of years ago. And though I haven't really been consistent with posting on this channel, crochet is still one of my passions. Knitting, fiber arts in general is still one of my passions. But before I was even doing all of that, writing was another passion of mine. I've been writing for really for as long as I can remember, but I didn't really start taking it like super seriously until when I was like 19. Cause actually, even before that, when I was in high school, like I don't know, like I didn't really know what I wanted to do like post high school. You know, I went the whole college route. I put myself in the honors classes in high school, and I did the whole like dual enrollment, which is when you take college classes while you simultaneously, you know, take your like regular high school courses. I did all that because I felt like I had to, because I knew that everyone expected me to go to college anyway. So I was just like, well, I might as well do all this, right? And but even then, like, I had no idea what career I wanted. I didn't even know what college I wanted to go to. Like, I didn't have like a dream college. I didn't really have like a specific major that I wanted to study. I didn't have like a plan for myself, but I felt like I had to at, 17 years old. And so when I got to college, I changed my major so many times throughout college because I was just so focused on like, I was just so concerned and worried about what my parents and what people expected me to do over just doing what I wanted to do. But eventually I settled on um English because that just made the most sense to me. And, I didn't really fall for the whole like humanities degree slander. I didn't really fall for the whole like English degree slander. People saying that, like, oh, you're not gonna make any money, you're wasting your time. Like, the only thing that you can do with a degree like that is just become a teacher. I didn't fall for any of that. Like, my whole mindset was, well, if y'all are quote unquote making me go to college anyway, I might as well study whatever I want to study. You know what I mean? I never really chased the money growing up, and that was never really like a concern of mine, which I know like sounds, naive, and it definitely was, but like, I also just didn't see the point of studying something that like I knew that I didn't give a fuck about, and make myself even more miserable. Like, literally didn't see the point. So all of that to say, um while I was in college, I tried getting internships, like specifically getting different, types of like writing internships, and I did a couple. One of which I was able to like become like a journalist in a sense. Like, I was given an opportunity to run my own um like column where I got to interview different YouTubers and different artists that I liked. And that kind of took off for me because I ended up getting a lot of reach, and I ended up having a lot of publicists reach out to me personally asking if I could interview or just like feature their specific artists. And I've had my work published, and for a time, like, I genuinely enjoyed it, and I genuinely thought that, like, maybe I would become like a journalist, because I think that's when my first passion of like, I think getting to know people and interviewing people kind of developed. And I always like, I didn't watch Sex in the City until like last year, but I really admired what Carrie Bradshaw was able to do, of like being able to write her own blog and make money from it, and then be able to like interview her friends and like I mean, granted, she was also putting their business out there, but like, she, she was able to like create like a name for herself through her love of writing. And I thought that maybe one day that could be me too, but in 2020, well, in the 2020s, I'll say that. Not saying that like you can't still run a blog, but I feel like so much focus in these times is on video content, you know what I mean? Doing a YouTube channel or having a TikTok account or even streaming. Like that's kind of where we're at right now. So, and also I feel like if you didn't already have like a social media presence to begin with, that made it even extra tough. So I didn't really know how I could figure out the logistics of that for myself. I've tried running like Substack accounts, and I have my own like personal website and stuff like that, but I just was never consistent on stuff like that. And like I said, I feel like with those types of things, you need to have already had like a established social media presence, which I didn't have. I have always used social media very casually. And, especially when being a journalist, like, again, social media presence is how you essentially make money. So I just knew that, like, that just wasn't really for me, I guess. I definitely have been in a period where I've just been struggling to just, like, write. I just got back into journaling, and, like, even that is intimidating for me sometimes, because it's like, if it's not perfect, even though I'm literally just writing about my thoughts, I can't do it, and especially can't do it consistently. Another passion of mine, though, has been makeup. I just got into doing makeup this year. In my 25 years of life, I never really wore makeup. And the only times that I did wear makeup was for my prom. And I think that's it. So I started learning how to do my makeup, and I've been really enjoying it. And something that I also wanted to bring up, which I might do a separate video on this, but I've been seeing a lot of videos recommended to me on my YouTube feed, is like this idea that, specifically women are lying to themselves about, only doing makeup for themselves, and that like there's like it's not possible to put in the effort to wear makeup every day and not also like cater to the patriarchy or something. I don't know the exact phrasing, but I've just been seeing these videos, and it kind of pisses me off, because it's like, as someone who didn't grow up wearing makeup because of a variety of different reasons that I won't get into, once I started learning how to do it, and I realized that, like, number one, it's a skill, right? And number two, I genuinely find it relaxing. Excuse me. I genuinely find it relaxing, and I find it fun, and I find it as a way to like express myself creatively. I've never attached it to like trying to impress a man or trying to impress anybody. Um and I never really associated that when it came to other women who would do their makeup, even makeup gurus who literally make a living off of filming tutorials and giving tips and tricks. Like, I don't know, I've just never like viewed it in that way. And so I find it a little frustrating that this is now becoming like a think piece as much as everything else on the internet is a think piece now. But I don't know, for me, it's just never been that deep. And I just know that, like, I wear makeup because it's fun. And like I said, it's relaxing for me. And apparently, that's like a wild concept to some people that doing your makeup can be relaxing. But I digress. um, but yeah, I can't relate or even try to act like I agree with the sentiment that, like, there's no such thing as just doing your makeup for yourself, or like getting your hair done, or wearing wigs, or doing anything to change your physical appearance as a way to like love yourself more. Like that being like something that's just not true, because I feel like it can be true, you know? Like, yes, you know, the patriarchy does infiltrate so much in terms of how we live our lives and how we think and how we show up in the world, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just more of like an optimist, and I don't know. But yeah, anyway, makeup has been just really fun, you know? And I mean, I don't really stick to a specific makeup style. I'm still very much learning what works for me in my skin, and I'm learning new stuff all the time. It's like genuine excitement getting new makeup products and like learning new techniques, and that feeling when you do your makeup and it comes out perfect, and it's just like, wow, I really ate that. I'm also just like, I'm not gonna allow the internet to bully me out of doing whatever the fuck I want. Like, y'all can, you know, believe all of that, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. So when you go outside and you go and experience real life, no one is talking about these things. And like, no one gives a fuck. So it's just like, why should anybody? You know what I mean? I would say another passion of mine is making videos and editing specifically. When I was a lot more consistent with posting on YouTube, I loved the editing process. Even when it felt super daunting and super like intimidating, once I got over that initial anxiety of doing like the rough cut of a video, and I started to like get into a groove, I realized how cool it is to be able to like see an idea come out how you want it, and then seeing people react to it in real time. I used to do a lot of like freelance work as a video editor, and you know, I do miss it. And I've been trying to find jobs like that, but it's kind of tough. And also because I've just been out of it for so long, I don't even have like a dedicated like reel or like a portfolio to share. And just a side note, I am someone who does not believe in blush blindness. I will put on as much blush as I want to, and I am not gonna apologize for it because I love blush and I think it looks super cute. Even when I first started doing makeup and I would go ham and I really was looking like a clown, I didn't give a fuck. Listen, I still embraced that shit. So, you know, if you want to talk about blush blindness, you are talking to the wrong girl. Something else I want to talk about is my passion for just like learning new things and specifically doing research on stuff. And I've come to learn this about myself. I am someone who loves like trivia and just like knowing useless information and also, learning useful information. It was actually my family who brought up the idea of me getting my master's degree um, to become a librarian. And I think originally, and I think I just kind of had this mindset because of what I heard growing up from other people. But being a librarian, I don't know, I feel like it gets a lot of negative connotation that librarians are older white women that wear, big sweaters and cardigans and wear glasses and, just have an obsession with books. But I remember being younger, being a kid, and I used to want to volunteer at the library and become a library helper and stuff like that. I was jealous of kids in my high school and middle school who were able to help out in the library early in the morning before school even opened or something like that. I always wondered how they were able to do that. And I even had a friend who used to volunteer at the library over the summer. But I am considering, well, not even considering, I'm pretty much in the process of applying for grad school so that I can get my master's in information science, information and library science. And what I ended up learning is that, the library profession, it's very diverse and it's very expansive. And I think a lot of misconception around being a librarian is that they just sit and tell you to be quiet and just always have a book, and they're just, organizing books all day. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of knowing a lot of information. You're also, serving your community. You're basically an information hub. It's very customer service heavy too. And it's very rewarding. And in the pursuit of becoming a librarian, you also just end up developing a lot of transferable skills that you can apply to other professions. And you don't even have to work in a traditional library. You could work at a hospital, you could work at a law firm, you could work for the government, you could work literally anywhere. Just knowing all of that, it just made me, I don't know, it kind of opened my eyes to what's really possible in terms of how you can make a living. I feel like people always, harp on the idea of oh, college is only useful if you're studying to be a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer. And I personally, I am a believer in pursuing your education. And I'm not one of these people that's gonna tell someone not to go to college, because I feel like pursuing your education is a privilege, and I feel like it is a privilege that we take for granted, along with a bunch of other things that we take for granted. And it's I feel like people focus so much on the money aspect of things, which is valid, but education is also very important, especially given the literacy crisis that we're going through right now. And I'm not saying that college is for everybody, because there is a level of discipline. And it does make things a lot easier if you know what it is that you want to do with your life. But to make it seem like you should only go to college, a college degree is only worth it if you're studying a specific thing. Like, I don't fully believe in that. I'm not gonna lie, I've been lacking a lot of structure in my life since I graduated last year from my undergrad, which is something that, like, no one warns you about. Like, the transition from being a student your whole life to not being a student anymore. And, like, now you are just, like, you kind of just have to figure it out. It can be very jarring, you know? Especially if you don't already have a job. And maybe you're just kind of in that stage between graduation and, like, unemployment. And even now, like, right now I work freelance, and the job I have has nothing to do with the degree that I have. I genuinely don't know what to do with myself every day. Like, outside of, you know, getting my work done, like, I have hobbies, right? But most of the time I don't want to do them. Like, it's such a weird thing to, like, navigate. I think overall my passions just kind of lie in being creative, regardless of what that looks like. I don't have a dream job. I don't really know where I see myself in my 30s and 40s and 50s. I feel like, you know, I see myself just kind of doing a bunch of different things throughout my life instead of having, like, one specific career path. And there's just so much pressure to just be one thing, but that's just not authentic to me, you know? I have multiple interests. I want to do all kinds of stuff, and to just reduce myself to just, like, one label or one job or whatever just wouldn't feel right. You know, I feel like society naturally puts you in a box and puts you, you know, as just being one thing. And if you try to push back against that, it's like all of a sudden it's, oh, you don't know yourself, you're having an identity crisis, you know, whatever. But it's like, I mean, who says that I can't be a writer one day and then a makeup artist the next day and then be a fashion designer next year? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel as though, you know, there are no rules. And especially since we literally are not here forever, and we doing all this just to die one day, I just feel like I'm gonna just be whoever I want to be, whatever that looks like. All right, this is the final look. I don't know how I feel about it, but wanted to, you know, do something different from what I usually do. So this is how she looks up close. And yeah, so thank you for hanging out with me while I yapped and did my makeup. This is really fun. If you like this type of content, then please leave a like and subscribe if you want to. I can't really guarantee that, you know, I'm gonna be consistent on here, but, you know, I'm around. So, but yeah, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Bye.